Welcome back to The Circle, the podcast where we go all in on men's work, embodiment practices, and personal growth from our queer perspective. If you're enjoying the show, please be sure to share your favorite episode and leave us a review. If you're curious about the work that we do or the practices we've mentioned on the show, head on over to myembodiment.com to join our new community. You can practice along with us and ask us questions about anything you've heard us talk about. Now on to today's show. This episode, we're exploring what it means to truly belong versus where and why we try to fit in. And what parts of ourselves do we hide when we do? Tim, are you ready to go all in?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. So let's just start at the top. How do you define the difference between belonging versus fitting in?
Belonging would be the ability to show up as your authentic self without need to edit or curate in any way. And fitting in would be a very specific and conscious decision to amplify certain aspects of ourselves that we think are acceptable or wanted by the whatever group we're in, and to pull back or diminish aspects that we think they're not going to like. And therefore, curating aspects of our own authentic self so that whoever my observer is going to find me more palatable. So it's really about feeling into another person or another group of people or a situation and deciding what you might think they want and then trying to give that to them. And then obviously over time getting clues, oh, they want more of this, they want less of that, and making subtle shifts to I'll just keep giving them what I think it is they want. And my idea of what they want might get clearer and clearer based on evidence. But in so doing, I will betray these other parts of me that may be really valuable.
Why do you think it is that we betray these parts of ourselves? And what do you think is underneath that conscious or subconscious desire to fit in?
Well, we are social beings. We are designed to exist in groups, and a lot of our safety and survival was based on being a welcomed and protected member of our group. Um, so it isn't surprising that we have that impulse. What's tricky though now is that we have all these other pressures. So it can be, you know, if we think about back in the day, you're like, well, we're all probably roughly wearing the same thing and we're all roughly doing the same thing. And now we have all these different other things that can separate us. And so I think it's heightened. What outfit I wear can make a difference depending on who I'm trying to appeal to, how I speak, my word choices, how I choose to spend my free time. Because we have so many more options now, we can start to get more and more particular about what it is we like or don't like, what we feel comfortable around or what we don't feel comfortable around. And you know, um, as an example, I was this is such a long time ago, but I was dating a fashion stylist. He had an incredible sense of fashion, and he would often like pick out my outfits for me, which I loved because it's not a thing I care about. But not that I don't care about it, but I wasn't very good at it, and so I'm like, oh, well, and I could do this anyway. I remember one time having dinner with a friend of mine and her husband, a friend from high school, middle school, this person I knew very, very well. And she admitted, she was like, oh, we got really nervous when we heard that your boyfriend was a fashion stylist because we became self-conscious about what we were going to wear or if what we had chosen to wear was good enough. And I remember in that moment thinking, oh, there was a pressure because there's this idea of what is fashion and you kind of know it or don't know it. And so it's an example of, well, what if I'm just really comfortable in this outfit and you don't think it's fashion? For some of us, you're like, well, who cares? But for others, it might be the thing that continues to keep you in the group or pushes you out of the group.
Right. In this case, too, maybe there's a little part about they were wanting to make an impression. They wanted this person to like them. So I do start to see that there is that hyper awareness is that they are presenting themselves in an effort to fit in or to impress or to make some sort of impression that is favorable from another person.
Yeah.
And so that's actually a really great example of like the fitting in. I will put on a different outfit to impress somebody else versus belonging would be like, well, I'm going to put on this outfit that I want to wear, and the person across from me and have an opinion on it or not, but I'm still gonna belong with them.
And I think in this example, belonging would also look like, because we live in a world with, social constructs, right? So, oh, I have to wear a suit to this event because that is what is expected in my industry, and and I want and choose to be a professional. Great. So you wear a suit. But at that point, it's like, but then if you're when you're choosing your suit, are you choosing it because it's the thing that makes you feel the best? Or I'm choosing it because I think all these other people are going to like it more or like me more in it. And I do sort of want to talk about, especially when you don't like, I don't have a great fashion sense, and I live in athletic wear most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, I will ask people's opinion because I'm genuinely curious. Like I would like you to help me curate this thing, which is very different than I'm gonna try to make each choice based on what I think you'll like so that you'll like me. So there's a little distinction there of maybe you don't, maybe you're not expert in something, and you are looking to other people. That's different than I'm going to curate my behavior and my choices so that you'll like me. Because I do often want to look good, and I often am like, oh, I think this looks good, but I don't really know.
Yeah, but curious, like when you look at it, like what do you see? Right? Because I think that's what we're
Well,
getting at. So I mean, there's still a part that's like, why are you looking outward? And this isn't a criticism. This just
sure.
came up, so it's just
I
like
mean,
looking at it. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
like when you put something on, how does it make you feel?
Well, so this is the thing.
Yeah.
I recognize that there are different sort of like skill sets and art forms. And so I feel like I recognize that fashion and color combinations are not the thing that I excel at. So I will look when I look at an outfit, I will mainly look at sort of fit. I'm also I tend to keep it pretty low key. A button down shirt and a pair of slacks, jeans and a t-shirt, that kind of thing. I mean, like this shirt that I'm wearing right now feels like fashiony for me, you know? I got this like, I don't know, 3 seasons ago. Anyway, I still really like it. Um, but it's pretty simple. If I need to be a little bit more, then I seek help. I'd be willing to wear whatever I wanted, I guess. Uh, I just feel like I don't know.
It's like even the like seeking help with how to look good, I think in a different context could be like, hey, I need your help like navigating this social situation. Because I'm having a hard time navigating it.
Mhm.
When I try to do it on my own, it doesn't feel like I'm being accepted by the group. So like I need a little bit of help to fit in. That's kind of what that sounds like to me is like I'm trying to present a part of me that like I like, but doesn't always like fit the theme or whatever it might be.
Right.
And so I'm asking for a little bit of support on how to navigate this in a sense so that I can be in that environment and feel like I fit in.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing. If I had a fashion sense that I was choosing not to present because I was afraid people wouldn't like it, that feels very different than I don't actually have much of a fashion sense. And so I'm looking for guidance because I'm like trying to fill in a deficit, that I have. Um,
But what is that deficit? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish with curating an outfit?
well, I mean, I guess it depends on the context and where you're going, but the idea would be I almost always want to look good and feel good in what I'm wearing. And feel good in what I'm wearing is really important for me, especially as like a fitness yoga person, right? I want to look good and feel good in what I'm wearing. And then there are contexts when, oh, that like I don't ask people's opinions about what I wear to teach fitness or yoga. I'm like, this this is it's pretty basic. It feels good. It works. Let's go. Um, it's when I get to the realm of, oh, if you were going to send me to the Met Gala, oh, okay, I need a little guidance. But because it's not my medium.
Yeah, but like the person that shows up to the Met Gala wearing whatever they want to wear, like might stick out. right? And in that sense, they may not fit in. They're going to stand out, right? So like,
Yeah, the Mick is a bad
no, no,
example
no,
because
but I
everyone's trying to stand out. Yeah.
right, but I think like this is what I'm trying to get at here is that like, based off of what we're wearing, if we are outsourcing the opinion of what it is that we're wearing, why is it that we're doing that? And in what effort? Is it to look good for others or is it to look good for ourselves?
Well, I mean, okay, so this example, we are looking to experts in areas where we're not expert. This happens all the time. So people come to me and ask me questions about yoga. They ask me questions about fitness. They ask me questions about, Chinese medicine or whatever, because I am more expert than they are. Chances are, if they're asking me, uh, and it isn't as if they're abandoning part of themselves in that. They're like, well, you know more, so I'm coming to you. And so in the fashion example, it's like, well, you know more, so I'm coming to you, which is very different than I know exactly what I want to wear or I know exactly what I want to do and I choose not to because I'm afraid you won't like it if I wear that or do that. So when we think about fitting in is I'm going to get a sense of what I think you want me to look like, you want me to sound like, you want me to do, and then I'm going to curate how I show up consistent with that as opposed to I'm gonna I'm gonna do whatever I want based on my own compass. So the fashion example is I don't really have my own compass. So looking for expert is not I don't think looking for expert advice, especially in areas of deficit, is is trying to fit in versus belonging. I think it's filling a gap.
Yeah, I mean, my cynical brain is like the fashion industry is trying to teach us like how to fit in, how to mold ourselves so that we ask these questions, so that we hire people or go to stores to buy things in an effort to fit in, right, to follow a trend, to follow whatever. So like that's what I'm getting from it versus like we go to a doctor or a fitness expert because we don't have an understanding of how to do a certain thing or we are trying to fit a mold of something else or maybe we're trying to belong a little bit more in our bodies. Maybe there is a sense of like, oh, like maybe there's a deficit inside of my body and I'm trying to figure out how to belong more in it. Or maybe I'm trying to reshape my body to better fit in someplace else. So I still think that a decision can be made consciously to seek out expertise in something that we have a deficit of in an attempt still to fit in.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I don't think that's always true, but I think it is can be true, could be true, is probably true in many instances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
So fitting in is making conscious choices to curate a part of you, uh, based on your understanding of the expectations of your audience,
mm,
right? And belonging would be just showing up, feeling free to show up as fully as you can. So yeah, I don't. We shouldn't get too much deeper into any one particular example because we could fit in or try to fit in almost any aspect of our life. What do I choose to eat or not eat? What do I choose to do or not do? What do I choose to wear or not wear? What do I choose to watch or not watch? Like the potential for it is everywhere. And so it's really about, I think, what is your personal intention? Like, how are you wanting to show up? And also, do you feel safe enough to be you? Do you
yeah,
feel safe enough to show up and say, oh, here's a part of me you may not like, but it's so valuable to me, I'm unwilling to let it go.
the difference between outsourcing, right? The opinion of self versus internally validating it to say like I'm doing this thing and I believe in it, so I'm going to do it or I'm going to wear it or whatever it might be. So curious, like what do you think makes like true belonging possible and true like ability to express authenticity possible? What are those conditions that make that possible for some people?
I think that it's the person and the environment. I think if, as we said, if you feel safe enough, you can show up fully. My personal experience has been that a lot of people we're all so accustomed to trying to fit in that really raw authenticity and unapologetic being of self can feel very unsettling, unfamiliar. So I think even really thoughtful, loving, caring people sometimes don't know how to handle just a raw expression of authentic self. I think that makes it harder then for a person who's interested in doing that to do that when you see your friends struggling to manage that experience. And you know, I think we live in a world, and as you said, the fashion industry, I'm sure like the cosmetic industry and the
The
fitness industry,
pharmaceutical,
like
the
they
supplemental
they are
industry.
we are being inundated with messaging about how it is we are supposed to be, and so it isn't surprising that most of us are sort of conditioned and trained to do that. So so then when someone can't meet you there, that feels a little isolating, you know. And I've personally had this experience a lot where I show up in a way and people don't know what to do. So, especially now as a older person and a bigger sort of muscly sort of person, sometimes people are really thrown when I demonstrate my sort of effulgent playfulness. And I was like, but that's really a part of me. And I've actually struggled with it in moments when I can see almost a flash of disappointment across someone's face when I'm not sort of showing up in a very stern mask for mask sort of thing. You know, I'm like, oh, I'll dance or I'll make a joke or I'll laugh or, you know, whatever. Uh and it can that has a feeling, that has a residue. So even if I'm committed to my authentic expression, I will sometimes have to metabolize, "Oh, I'm sensing that that person is uncomfortable with this." And now the person holding that mainly will be me, or whatever person is trying to show up in whatever the way they want. What's interesting was, you know, when I was in the volleyball league, Gotham Volleyball in New York City, which I really, really loved and made a lot of friends and spent many, many seasons doing, I was unbelievably competitive. We might have talked about this already. I was unbelievably competitive. I really wanted to win the point, and I would like scream something like, ah, like, you know, and then I would do a high kick and like a silly dance, and people sometimes were really shocked that I would switch so quickly, but it was all me. They were it was all authentic parts of me. Like I really want to win this point. I want you to play well and I want to play well and then I want to beat you because that's when it'll feel the best, right? And then I want to celebrate and make my friends laugh. And there'd be times where people are just like, I don't understand this thing happening in front of me. And when you recognize, oh, this person doesn't understand me, that can feel very isolating.
That scenario of bringing fullness, not being accepted, and being like, oh well, what about me? Like, don't you like or isn't accepted? And is that a part of me that I now have to start hiding or adjusting or adapting? Do I have to tune down the competitiveness? Do I have to turn up the effulgence in more places? Do I have to tune that down? Like what? Like
I mean,
the
yeah,
the mental processing that takes. Like I've been there, and I will say too, there the times that I have felt more lonely is when I've actually like done everything in my brain correctly to fit in. I've worn the right outfit. I've said the right things. I'm hanging out with the right people. I feel so alone
mm,
because I'm not myself.
yeah,
So I feel lonely with myself.
yeah,
Even if I might fit in, I fit in with the group. I feel incredibly alone.
yeah, because you're aware of the parts that you didn't bring to the party with you. Yeah, I mean, the some of the darkest and most despondent moments of my life have been when I've been in that feeling that my true authentic self just isn't welcome here. You know, and I've said that I'm like, oh, there are moments when I feel like I just don't belong here because whatever it is that I am, whatever combination of factors that I am, seems to be really hard for most people to want, like, or invite. That is unbelievably sad. And I think a lot of people probably can relate to that, except we don't really talk about it, which is why I have felt that way. I have felt like that all by myself. And I'm assuming most people who are feeling that way also are doing it all by themselves. because you're like, oh, there aren't many places where I feel like I truly belong. And so therefore, well, what's the matter with me? And then you look around the world and, of course, we're all doing this sort of showmanship, sort of Instagram style life thing where you're like, well, it looks like everyone else is belonging just fine. And not even just belonging fine, they are thriving. You're like, you're living the greatest life. Everyone loves you. And I'm over here like a weirdo that, like, you know, uh, I do think that's probably a more common experience, and it's sad to mention at times because it is unbelievably isolating.
Isolating, and then like to feel, I have felt that I could not bring that feeling of isolation or fear of extra not belonging. Oh, I'd rather hide parts of myself to fit in, wear the outfit to fit in, say the thing to fit in, and sit with this feeling of isolation than reveal the fact that I'm feeling isolated and alone,
Mhm.
because that is scary.
Yeah,
So it's like layers of fear happening with this concept of fitting in and what it is that we sacrifice and leave behind to fit in. It's like so many fear layers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there has been one gay man in my entire life that I feel like not only wanted my whole authentic self and expression, celebrated it. One person in my entire life. And so, obviously this was like a dear friend of mine, but you think, okay. And then I hear these things be like, Brene Brown and Oprah, like if you just have one really good friend, like that's good. And so, but there are moments when in a whole world of people, there's only one person where I feel like this. I can be, uh, there are moments when that feels lonely, especially when you can't always be with that person. They can't always they can't always give you that boost, right? So then I guess we have to start cultivating it in ourselves. But that easier said than done.
It's really challenging too if it's just one person and you see on Instagram people consistently like, "Oh my gosh, the squad is running deep today." And it's like, there's like six of them running together all the time. And it's like, yeah, like, oh, you like that's my cynicism too. I'm like, much of this is reality. Are you all actually friends? Like, and all that stuff that goes through my head that then like continues. We
Right.
talked about this
They
with the
might all
mirror.
be trying to fit in.
Right. This also like goes back to our conversation with the mirror. Judgment is less about keeping me from you, and like so it really is my opportunity to be like, what? Okay, like cynical Eric, angsty teenage Eric, like what's going on
Hmm.
here?
Yeah.
What jealousy is underneath the surface right now, and what are we trying to strive for?
I mean, we all want to feel loved. We all want to feel connected. We all want to feel safe, and we all want to feel included, and we all want to feel like we belong. And we want that so badly. I want that so badly that sometimes I'm willing to fit in as a way of getting that feeling. So when we think about this and like, why is men's work important? Why is yogic shamanic embodiment practices important? It's to help us continue to connect with our own authentic experience in any given moment, so we have a clearer understanding of it, and so that we can at least the process would begin by noticing when whatever I'm doing feels incongruent to my full self. And a lot of the times I get those signals from my body.
It helps us move away from like, how do I need to be right now to fit in, to like, what's true for me right now?
Mm,
That tapping into the authenticity. Like, what is my truth right now?
yeah.
What is it I'm feeling? And what is it that I want to do? Is it that I'm desiring? Just really connecting with that and owning that. But that takes time and space. So, curious about how do we intentionally create spaces that invite belonging rather than this demanding of conformity?
Well, I mean, great question. When we figure out the answer, I guess we'll start to do it. I think we need to start spaces where we're having different kinds of dialogue, because how are you actually doing isn't a question I feel like I hear or receive very frequently. So a lot of like, what's up? How are you? Like, Yeah, I get it. But am I genuinely interested in your internal experience, your felt sense? I don't hear that very much. And so creating spaces, well, how are you doing? Are you feeling relaxed and at ease? Do you feel safe right now? Do you feel accepted? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? These are not questions that I'm hearing frequently.
Especially
And
out in public.
yeah, and then especially in like gay male spaces, we're not that isn't the conversation. Conversation is something else. And so creating spaces where that is part of the conversation, I think is really powerful. And, that's why I created the embodiment circle here and why you and I are creating the space and what we're doing so that there is a place. Because here's the thing, when you want to share something that isn't pretty, that isn't fun, or that isn't going to get lots of likes on Instagram, but you need to share it because it's in service to your mental health or your highest good, you need a place where you're allowed to be a little messy, a little ugly, or where you don't feel the pressure to have to be super entertaining or charismatic all the time. So, do you have a place where you can legitimately have a bad day and feel safe in saying, I don't feel great today, or I don't feel seen or heard right now. I feel really othered. I feel like I don't belong. In order to actually do that, you would need safe container and probably trusted people that could hold that. Be like, I will love you anyway, even when you're not beautiful in particular ways that our culture wants us.
So holding it is so important. Like I was with a dear friend yesterday and like I was going through it. I was having a hard time. Like it's Bear Week in town, y'all, and like there's just something in the energy that has shifted for me so much of like I do not feel like I belong. I feel so othered, so alienated, and I don't know what it is. Still working on it. Again, when we find the answers, we will tell everyone. But like
Mhm.
I am going through it. I had a very dear friend who like we've been able to have conversations in the past about our feelings and our emotions. And we were walking down the street and he asked, "How are you doing?" And I let it out. And he got really uncomfortable. And he tried changing the subject several times. And I love him dearly. But in that moment, he could not hold it.
Mhm.
He's been able to hold it in other ways and in other times and other spaces. But yesterday he was not able to. And I was able to like get out what I needed to get out to be able to then be as present with him as possible without stewing in my stuff.
Yeah.
So it was in service enough, like, but I was still like had some things still going on.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things I'm hearing in that story, that example, is this idea of the healing power of being seen and heard. Because I think another thing that happens is this desire to want to fix, right? So, oh, you're saying you're uncomfortable, you're unhappy, whatever the thing is, and now I want to try to like offer you some solutions. And in reality, you live in Provincetown right now during Bear Week. The solution is to look at yourself and how you engage because you're not stopping Bear Week until it's over,
That's right.
right? And so
And I don't
sometimes
want to stop it either.
no, of course,
Right.
but like the idea being then that well the I'm not looking for solutions, I'm not looking for distractions. I'm looking for someone to see me in this feeling right now.
Because I feel so lonely and alone in this week that feels like such a community event of belonging. And I feel so alone in it. Like that's been part of the beautiful thing about the bear community and like the first bars that I went to were bear bars where I felt that first time that sense of belonging. Now I feel like I something has shifted in me that I feel incredibly lonely.
Well, we have to recognize that for as much as we love Provincetown and what it offers and the open safe space that it creates, especially in this moment in time, for gay people and queer people to come together and do the things. It is a resort town, and so people come with vacation resort agenda. This is really true. I believe it to be true. And so the comments we're making right now about Bear Week aren't necessarily like directly specific to the bear community, but rather any group of people that are coming to be like, I am on vacation agenda and I want to check all the boxes. And I think that's really different because I have felt like the bear community, but also the leather so many communities, the leather community, the bear community, very accepting, very open. Um, but it's different when you're like, but it's heightened. We're on a 7-day sprint of fun, right? We are sprinting through this experience to do all the things. So the bear cruise, the beach, the parties, the pool party, like the
Shows.
shows, like, whatever. And nothing wrong with it, but there is an intensity to it, especially if you're not on vacation. So, like, if, in the P Town, there's this P Town joke about, I'm not on your vacation. You're on your vacation, but I'm not on your vacation. I'm here with you, but I'm at work, right? And so just wanting to honor you that I think one of the challenges is you're a P-townie who's working, while other people, and especially with these theme weeks, are having very intense vacations, which they are totally welcome to have. But the problem with P-town is you can't entirely not observe it happening around you because it's small and you see it. I mean,
And it's hard not to compare.
so hard not to compare.
See, this is the thing. If town floods to 100,000 people, 75,000 people are engaging in a certain way. I'm not one of those 75,000. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I don't have like the nervous system built up to be able
Yeah,
to say like, oh, they can do whatever they want and I can do whatever I want. I just am not there yet. I look at that and I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
right.
What is wrong with me?
Well, so I was on the bear cruise yesterday, as you know, and this idea, looking around, and uh, I ultimately had a fairly good time, I would say. There were at least 2 or 3 moments, though, where I was like, "I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. Kinda wish I could get off this boat." You know, those moments passed, but I like looking around and thinking, "Everyone here looks like they're having so much fun." And there were these moments where I was not having fun. I still largely had fun, but, um and those are moments where it feels really hard to be, "So what's wrong with me? Why don't I belong here? It looks like everyone else is super comfortable and they belong, and I don't feel that way." It's really tricky.
What if it isn't something that we find, but something that we like build?
Well, okay, so yes, yes, let's build it. And, uh, from my own personal experience, the short time I've lived in Provincetown, I'm working on 3.5 years of living here. I feel like I have worked hard to build spaces that I find nourishing, that I think are add value, but that can be fatiguing, and there can be moments when uh, I just want to step into someone else's container or have a place that I can go that I don't have to also create. So, yes, we should all work hard to create these spaces, and sometimes it's nice to, which is why when you started leading the circle, both the embodiment circle and the sharing circle, one of the reasons I was so happy about that, in addition to the fact that you were a member of the team and we were building a thing, was that I could step in and for once be the participant in the space that I was otherwise always leading. So nice. Um, so yes, we have to create those spaces, but sometimes it's nice to have a space already so that we can fill our tank.